We'll get to Cleveland and Miami and the bloodbath down in South Florida in a little bit. But a Warrior-Rocket entertaining game, but an incredibly frustrating game, Joe House, if indeed you are the Houston Rockets. Because you had Golden State on the ropes. You had a halftime lead. You had a fourth quarter lead. And you saw a young, inexperienced team with some coaching mistakes, with some lineup mistakes, with some bad possessions. You mix in some Buddy Hield. You mix in some Jimmy Butler in his return. And we're talking about the Houston Rockets covering the 3.5, which, yes, was significant to some. But you're also talking about the Houston Rockets being down 3-1 in this series. And House, you see any parallel comparison to what we've seen in the Knick Piston series to what we're seeing here with the Rockets and the Warriors?
I like that comparison. I think it holds some water. Honestly, I think the Pistons, to me, have been a little more impressive in their matchup with the Knicks, but this Houston team has been telling us who they are this entire playoffs, and they are missing a key ingredient, which is the how to win ingredient. They have a physical advantage in terms of size. They have a physical advantage in terms of athleticism. They could have an advantage from outside, except for they can't get any of their guys off, more than one off on any given night. But they just shoot themselves in the foot. They take turns on which dumb mistake they're going to make to let the Warriors go ahead and grab these games with poise at the end. Tonight it was free throws, Dream. They decided to go ahead and miss, 13, 12 free throws tonight, 19 of 31. And that was the difference in the game.
Embarrassing, Raheem. You can't miss that amount of free throws in an NBA postseason game on the road against Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler and think you're going to survive. I know we could talk about a lot of different stuff. I'm glad you brought that up, House, because I thought it was going to cost us to cover. Raheem, that was embarrassing.
It just feels like at any given time, this Rockets team doesn't know how to put the ball in the hoop. They start the game on a 13-2 run. So you're already behind out of the 8 ball. And then you come back and you make it a game, but then you just can't make free throws. And then you have the lead at halftime. You're up 7 at halftime, and you start the second half giving up 11 straight points. At any given time, this team just cannot score. And it's very frustrating to watch. You got a guy in Jalen Green who on any given night, he could be Kobe Bryant or he could be Jordan Poole. 3 of 8 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, just a straight up cone out there. So, it's unfortunate because you look at this Rockets team, like House said, they are more physically talented. They are deeper. They are bigger. If you look at how they performed on offensive rebounds, they offensive rebounded 38% of their misses. And, you got to be able to win a game like that. And it's unfortunate because ultimately it comes down to free throw shooting and half-court offense. And at the end of the day, you're just not going to advance without that.
Both were lacking. And listen, Houston, after shooting the ball terribly early on in this series, House, they made it a priority to get the ball in the paint. They had success executing in the paint. They had Draymond Green with 5 fouls in trouble, yet in the fourth quarter of this game, you got to go and bring that bad boy home. And this was not a vintage Steph Curry game by any stretch of the imagination. You have games where he's not hitting haymaker after haymaker. And yes, Jimmy Butler played well. And I give Jimmy Butler a ton of credit for being able to go and basically play the entire game, considering he was dealing with the issue missing game 3. I give him a lot of props for that. But dude, you get a gift of Curry giving you a C game, and you can't find a way to win it with leads in the fourth quarter and a lead at halftime. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to imagine you're going to find a way to go and win this series. And now the question is, are we looking at Houston taking care of business in Game 5 and Golden State wrapping it up in 6? Or is Golden State going to go pedal and metal and put the Rockets out of their misery next time we see them?
Well, I hope it's the latter. I hope Golden State just gets this team off of our TV screens. I've seen enough of this version of Houston, and I'm ready to bid them a not-so-fond farewell. Good run by them regular season. They were an upstart team back in October, we looked at Houston. We said, this is a good story. This is a team that should exceed expectations. They got that job done. Ime was among the top 5 for Coach of the Year candidates. He deserved it, but they're missing an ingredient, and that is a reliable bucket getter at end of games, a reliable poise person at end of games. They need the coach on the floor because the coach on the sidelines hasn't come up with the right recipe to take advantage reliably at end of games with this team.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, when I was a little frustrated with Ime's performance from a coaching perspective. I mean, they're up 101-97, and the Golden State Warriors, they opted to go to the hack of Adams. And, they bring out Adams when the double big lineup was working. And then by the time you bring it back, the Rockets are down. And by then it's too late. And my biggest thing is this. Even if, they send Adams to the line, let's say he makes 1 or 2, at least you get them into the penalty. So you're playing the last 4 minutes of the game in the penalty. And then, at the end of the game, you need a 3. Why do you have the double big lineup out there at that time?
Bizarre. Made absolutely no sense.
It was just very frustrating to watch, this Rockets team, because I do ultimately feel like, they're just as good as this Warriors team, but they're just missing the main guy. And, I feel like this was a series to where it probably should have gone back to Houston tied 2-2, the way they performed tonight. And it just did.
Raheem, what's your early read? It's very early. FanDuel gives us Rockets by 3.5 on Wednesday night. Your thoughts?
I can't lay points with this Rockets team. I really can't. When you ultimately look at this series, the one game in which they won was the game in which Jalen Green was basically Kobe Bryant. He had 38 points. How likely is that going to happen again based on what we've seen thus far? I don't know if that's going to happen again. You look at how Fred VanVleet performed tonight. Fred VanVleet, he made everything. He was 8 of 13 from the field, 8 of 12 from 3, 25 points. I mean, Şengün was just an absolute monster. So you got monster games out of your 2 stars, and you still end up losing. I can't really trust this Rockets team. It wouldn't surprise me if you saw sharp money on the Rockets, but I'm not touching it.